Thanks to the supporters of channel member Mumongu Gaming. Oh, folks, the start to this season has been so rough that even the guy we identified as our new assistant manager turned us down to stay as a coach in the division below. But it is the FA Cup first round today, so maybe we can make some money. Hello and welcome to part 22 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have the first round proper of this year's FA Cup. We're at home against Kettering from the league below, a team theoretically we should be capable of beating, but of course, when we were down there, they were something of a bogey team for us. And then we've got the closest thing we have to a local derby. We're away against Boston in the National League. Since you were last with me, our run of horrible form that we'd been on before the last episode continued. It's such a weird thing because we started the season quite well with the 4-0 win and the draw, and then it was horrible off camera. We came back for the last episode, went pretty well by all accounts, went pretty well, and then it didn't. I don't know why we can't win matches off camera. So we actually ended up re-abandoning the 4-1-4-1. It's a 4-3-3. Why would we call it a 4-1-1-1-1-1-4? Whatever it is. We abandoned the 4-3-3, went back to the diamond that we'd been planning for back in pre-season, and did manage to pick up a win, a 3-0 win, a comfortable 3-0 win, meaning the National League now looks like this, which is fine. Remember, all we need to do this season is avoid relegation. We are currently ahead of the Kev ratio. We're clear of the relegation zone. That's all fine. We've continued to bring random defensive midfield players in. Jensen Metcalf, I think, joined in the last episode. And then we've signed Jack Evans, apparently not the wrestler, but he's come in having previously done a little bit of a tour around clubs of our level, basically. But he's in as well. And the guy we've ended up taking on as the new assistant manager, after What's-His-Face decided he didn't want to come to us, we promoted from within. Good old-fashioned promoted from within. Our previous under-18s coach, Andy Hickman, and he's actually pretty decent. Certainly, third time lucky. Certainly, attributes-wise, an improvement on the guy we had before. So, fingers crossed. He'll be part of the turnaround for us as well. But what we really need to do is just beat Kettering, because the biggest problem we've got isn't even on the pitch. It's this, the ever-increasing debt. And I know I don't normally pay much attention to that number because as first-team manager, frankly, it's none of my business. I'm not the owner. I'm not the finance director. It doesn't really matter. But where it does matter is this is stopping us from getting new training facilities, which we've promised to one or two of our players. It's also meaning that I can't go on any coaching courses. They just won't send me on them. So I'm stuck at Continental C. I mean, they put me on a couple, but I'm stuck there now. They keep turning me down for that. And it is going to start having an impact on my budget. So although, as ever, I am well within budgets, I've been very well behaved this save all the way through so far. It would be nice to get a run through to the third round of the FA Cup, play Manchester United away, and clear our debt and then some in one go. So beating Kettering today is probably the most important game of the season so far. So this is our team. It's Marshall in goal, a back four of Morris, Raha, Kwanzaa and Leeson, Metcalf at the base of the midfield, Hinchy and Levy ahead of him, and then Kelly behind Sewell and Okoronkwo up front. If you remember, the way Kettering would ruin us back down in the National League North is we would be playing our 4-4-2, and Kettering would come at us with a diamond and we wouldn't be able to cope with it. So I'm hoping they're still doing the diamond, because when we match up against another diamond, we're generally all right. What they're actually doing is the good old FM23 flat back 7, which we do love to see. Hopefully we can find a way to break it down. The problem we've got is when we go narrow like this, we can sometimes find it a little bit hard to break down the fact that this is just basically a solid wall of 7 players across the pitch, filling the full width of it. And with these 3 guys with a little bit of support from the fullbacks, it can be quite hard to just get through that solid wall of footballer, as demonstrated by the fact we've not even had a highlight in the entire first half of the game. We've marginally been the better team. The fans are out in force, as you can see, absolutely filling Hitchens ground that I can't remember the name of. Is it Bridge Road? It's something like Bridge Road. I think Hinchy's been fouled there. We have got a penalty just at the start of the second half. This could be crucial because it's been a nothing game so far. Hopefully it continues to be a nothing game and we can grab this penalty, score a football goal and find our way in the second round of the FA Cup. It's going to be Saul. Saul's picked up a knock there. When did Saul get injured? Doesn't matter. He scored the penalty anyway. It is Peterborough Sports 1, Kettering 0. Kettering have brought a lot of fans with them. It's quite impressive. And they've probably got more fans here than we have. I mean, let's face it, neither of us have got a lot of fans. Less than 1,000 people in attendance, although that is bigger than our usual attendance is. We're usually getting something in the 500 or 600 range. So Kettering have obviously brought a fair few with them because I can't imagine, based on the very limited number of sports shirts that I'm seeing, that we've got larger than normal attendance for an FA Cup match. Saul, probably because he's injured, not able to break past his defender there. We should probably take him off. We will after this highlight. Kelly plays it forward, looking for Saul again, who once again misses out on it. Could we be 3-0 up if Saul wasn't injured? Probably not. But, you know, if Kettering now grab a couple of goals, we will blame it on the fact that Saul stayed on the pitch when injured, although I thought he was in there to grab a goal and prove me wrong. But Leeson looking to play it across. Levy's got into the penalty area again, but his header goes over, and we should probably now take off Saul, although he's actually not doing too badly. But we've got, we'll bring on Campton Sturridge. We have got Flynn Clark down there on the bench as well, but Flynn Clark, really, we want in that attacking midfield position rather than playing as a second striker. We do, I think, have the opportunity for 5 substitutions in the FA Cup first round as well. So we can actually make a whole load of changes, because I love making a whole load of changes. We've got 4 substitutions remaining. So Flynn Clark can come on. That's a relatively easy one. Sraha's injured, so Bennett can come on for him. We'll leave it there. We'll come back and do 2 more substitutions in a minute. If we need him, we probably will. Everyone's always shattered. But it remains 1-0, 15 minutes to go. It's still been a very nothing game, but we haven't had a single highlight for Kettering yet. And now Okoronkwo grabs his 8th goal of the season. I mean, he got a huge assist from the Kettering goalkeeper there, to the point where I'm surprised it's not gone down as an own goal, because I don't think this was going in from the original shot. But Okoronkwo gets in, fires it across goal. There's no way that's going in before it hits their goalkeeper. But it has been recorded as an Okoronkwo goal very generously, and puts us 2-0 up and should book us a spot in the hat for the next round. We've taken off Morris at left back as well. We still have 1 more substitution to make. We have to make them. We have to convince the universe that we need 5 changes. There you go. McKnight can come on. I like the fact that as a non-league team, we can actually fill a 9-man bench with a whole load of players that I'm not afraid to use. We've got a decent squad, in so much as they're all very similar quality to each other. Not necessarily enough quality to do well in the National League, but they are all roughly comparable to each other, so I'm not afraid to use any of them. And Okoronkwo makes it 3-0. This shows the development we've made. It's disallowed. Point still stands. It shows the development we've made since we were down in the National League North. We couldn't beat Kettering down there. I know they're playing a different system now as well, but we're a better team than we were last season. I guess it's just a big step up from National League North to National League, which is why we're struggling as much as we are in the league. Or maybe this diamond is super special, secret, awesome, and it was just a little bit of bad luck before that it wasn't working, and now we're trying it again with the players settled in at the club. Maybe this is where we go on a run of form. Remember, we won our last league game 3-0, 2-0 now against Kettering, possibly about to add a third. We're all of a sudden looking like a decent team, and Hinchy really should be doing a little bit better than that. He's kind of launched it over the top of the goalkeeper. Just have a shot. I don't know why you're having to be fancy with it. I've just noticed the XG as well. We have absolutely ruined Kettering today, and we're actually under our XG at the moment at 2-0, but Levy is in, and we're now even further under our XG, because that was a big chance. It remains 2-0. If we could grab a third, I would very much like to grab a third. It's going to be Levy to take the corner. We've got nobody. Have we got set piece instructions on? Because there was nobody where they're supposed to be stood there. Have my set pieces disappeared again? One moment, boys and girls. Set pieces, corners, attacking. For goodness sake, my set piece instructions aren't there. Does that mean for as long as we've been playing the diamond, I've not had my custom corners on? Because that also might explain some stuff. I'm sure I put them on, But that would certainly explain why we struggled a little bit, because set pieces are really important in Football Manager. Right, we'll get them on before the next match, but before that, we should have the draw for the second round of the FA Cup, where we want one of two things to happen. We either want an away game against a big team in League One who get loads of fans. I don't know who that could be. Let's have a look at who's in League One these days. So an away game against Swansea, Coventry, Posh would be fun, Derby, Sheffield Wednesday, any of these towards the top of the table. Away against any of them, Birmingham would probably do a decent attendance as well, although the dream is we get a home tie against a team even worse than us. We can beat them and get that third round mega money tie against a Premier League team away from home. That's what we really want. So here we go then. Draw for the second round. Yeah, any of these, I mean, Swansea or Derby away from home would be great. Posh away would be great. Or we'll take an easy tie. I mean, Alfreton were on there. We'll take them. That would be good. Right, let's advance through the draw. Notts County or Wimbledon. See, if this was at home, this would be... In fact, Wimbledon wouldn't be winnable. Barrow would have been, though. Wow, we're second name out of the hat, and it's at home, so now we want another conference team to have a chance. We don't really want the big draw here because our ground's not big enough. I mean, that's the worst of all scenarios. It's a team that are obviously going to be good enough to beat us. Oxford, presumably still League One. Yeah, a team that's going to be good enough to beat us relatively comfortably. But it's not going to make us a lot of money, even if it was at their place, and it's not at their place. It's at our ground that probably won't even be full, and even if it was, can only hold 4,000 people. No money. Rubbish. We'll still show it tomorrow, but no money. Where is it? It's not even on there yet. That'll be tomorrow, but no money. Rubbish. Much sad. So a few changes then for the Boston game, because it's only been a couple of days. We've not even been anywhere near the training ground since our last match. St. Paul comes back in because he's been our goalkeeper in the league. We were letting Marshall play because it was the cup. Marshall might win his spot back at some point, but at the moment, St. Paul is our league goalkeeper. So big time. We've got a league goalkeeper and a cup goalkeeper. Aren't we fancy? McKnight comes in at right back. Evans at the base of the midfield. Cisse and Ahui together in central midfield. And Bennett coming in up front because of the injury to Sewell. So this could be 3 wins in a row in all competitions. We've done 3-0. We've done 2-0. We haven't conceded a goal for a while. We're in very good form all of a sudden. I mean, as good as our form has been all year long, and for a team that's down in 17th place. And this is a local derby against a team below us in the league that came up with us last year. And Callum Cisse has just scored an absolute worldie of a free kick. I was about to tell you that I've turned on my corner instructions, but who needs corner instructions when you're going to hit a free kick like that? We don't need corners. Just give us free kicks. That was outstanding. It's 1-0 to Sports. Look at us. We're flying up the league now, up to 15th place. I mean, say it quietly. We're only 5 points outside of the playoffs this season. This season has some twists and turns in it just yet. They're going to do a free kick of their own now, aren't they? That's going to make me very sad. I wonder what this massive, important-looking building looks like that's apparently in Boston next to a not complete stand that's got a Pim's tent in it. I mean, I've been to Boston many times. There's no buildings that look like that in Boston. Not a single one. Apart maybe from, like, home base. But even then, I don't think that's home base in the corner of the ground. Did home base used to be in the corner of their old ground? We need Bostonians to let me know down in the comments section. Right, McKnight playing it forward, looking for Okawankro, who does win the ball in the air, but under duress and is not able to direct his header towards any of our players. But Straha does well there. And now Cisse in midfield again, still buzzing off of his excellent free kick that he scored previously. And look at that from Bennett. That's good. He's a natural pressing forward, which, remember, in old Football Manager language, used to be called the defensive forward. And he's showing there that he's got the defensive skills. Ahui bursts forward. We brought him in to play on the right wing, and now we don't have a right wing. He can also play right back and central midfield. We're still giving him game time. And as we all say, I mean, I've said this many times, of course, if you can play on the wing, you can play as a Mazzala. So there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to do a job in that position. Well, just pause for a moment because there was a car running for an inexplicably long amount of time there. When it started up, I thought that'll only be a second. They're starting and then they'll drive off, and it just kept going and going and going. Apologies if you could hear it. I don't know if you could, but there was just a car rumbling just outside my office window for ages. Maybe they were in the home-based car park in the corner of this ground that we're in. Blooming Boston. I don't know. Right, it's still 1-0. Half an hour to go. We could do a second goal here. Boston are even worse than we are. They're one of the few teams in this league who we can confidently say we're better than. But it would be nice for us to grab another goal and prove it. Kelly squares it across to Okoronkwo, and he does exactly that for the second match in a row. He's got his 8th goal of the season. I love the fact that that goal counter still doesn't work, despite it didn't work on FM23 either. Good work, Sports Interactive. Although, did it show 8th because he had it disallowed in the last game? Either way, let me be cynical. Kelly played it across. Okoronkwo with the finish. It's 2-0. And now there's a dog barking out there. Does the world not know I'm trying to record a YouTube video in here? What is going on? Kelly playing it across to Straha. It's off the underside of the bar. And now a Hui playing it. It's not my dog, by the way. Kwanzaa from range. I mean, if our centre-back scores from that kind of range, then he probably needs to start playing in midfield because that would be a bit fancy. All the dogs barking out there, I figured I may as well eat my my gluten-free, vegan, milk-free mince tart from Costa. I don't need gluten-free food. I'm not a vegan, and this isn't a sponsorship. I was in Costa the other day, saw mince pies on the counter, and thought, oh, I like mince pies. So I picked it up and said, I'll have one of these as well, please. And they said, oh, yes, a gluten-free vegan mince pie. And because I'm British, I didn't want to say, oh, actually, no, can I have a normal one? So I just bought it anyway and put it in my bag and then bought a normal one from somewhere else. But the dogs are still making all this noise, so I'll eat it now. Why not? Put it in my bag. It's actually all right. I wish I'd shut up. Well, I think the dogs have finally stopped barking out there, which is nice. I finished my mince pie. I do have to question. I mean, it was nice. It was perfectly fine. I do have to question what they made the pastry of, if it's gluten-free and vegan, because does that not eliminate all of the ingredients of pastry? Let me know down in the comments section how you make a gluten-free vegan pastry. I'm intrigued. Meanwhile, we're making 3 substitutions. We are 2-0 up. I mean, you will remember that because it happened very recently. The dogs are back. I don't even know if you can hear them. I hope the mic is cutting them out. I don't know why people are leaving their dogs in their garden to bark incessantly for 15 minutes. Wish they didn't. But importantly, we've won another football match. So it looks like the diamond works now that our players are settled into the club. And earlier on in the season, when the diamond wasn't working, it was less the diamond not working and more we had a load of new players in the team. They needed to settle in. We were in a new division and trying to do a new tactic all at the same time. And we probably tried to do too much all together. And just by going back to basics for those couple of matches in the last episode, we've allowed them to settle in a little bit better. And it does seem that now we've got the players we signed for this system playing in this system. It is working. Although, I mean, Boston are rock bottom of the league, so it's not that impressive a result. But we're up to 15th place. We're in the second round of the FA Cup. Everything's starting to look good. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on the video for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.